Please welcome to the stage the totally fake and completely overrated Greg Shapiro.
Hey, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming. Hey, what? Hey. Yes, I'm your host, Greg Shapiro, the American Netherlander. Trouwens ben ik tweetalig. Technically, I am bilingual, but I don't like to speak Dutch because, as I'm fond of saying, it makes my mouth feel sad. It's a beautiful language, the Dutch language. It just flows right off the back of the throat. Yes. But thank goodness that so many Dutch people speak English really well. Do you Dutch people understand how much more you know about the details of the United States election than many American people? I'm not exaggerating. I have Dutch people coming up to me asking, like, what are your plans to reform the Electoral College? Ask the average undecided voter in America, like, college? No, I don't have time, man. I got 2 jobs. American Netherlander, right? I grew up in America first, and I moved to the Netherlands second, okay? And so yes, that was my voice in that historic video that came out the same weekend that Donald Trump entered his first term as president, and he said, it's going to be America first, America first. And I was part of the Dutch team that had the response with Zondag met Lubach. We were there to say, like, we know it's going to be America first, but can we just say the Netherlands second? Would that be okay? And, they sent me the script for this video, and it said, grab him by the pony, and I thought, this could be funny. This could be good. This video, it went so viral. It went around the world and back. People were sending me the link to this video from the United States. Yes. They were like, oh, have you checked out this video? You should watch this. You would laugh. I said, Mom, that's me. That's my voice in the video. So now I've got many Dutch people who are asking me, hey, Greg, that's my name in the Dutch, Greg Shapiro. I bet you are happy that Donald Trump is now coming back to the White House and you can make more Donald Trump videos, huh? And to answer that question, I always have to think of Mark Rutte when he went to speak to Donald Trump in the White House and he said, no. You remember? Yes. I'll go on record. I'm not a fan of Donald Trump coming back to the White House. And if you are a fan of Donald Trump, you are welcome at tonight's show. I predict you're not going to like the show. I'm okay with that. Just want you to know. But, so no, I don't need Donald Trump to come back, okay? Like, I have other means of income. For me, it would not be the end of the world. Whereas, now that he's coming back, it feels like the end of the world. We're not even, 2 weeks from the election, and every day it's a car crash. I mean, every nomination so far, we have given the keys to the car to a man who can't even open car doors anymore. Did you see Donald Trump dressed as a garbage man trying to open the door to the... what was that? I used to be so good at grabbing things, and grabbing, that was my thing. Can't open doors anymore. As old as Joe Biden is now, Donald Trump is now older than Joe Biden was when he started out as president. Yeah, it's gonna be a bumpy ride, folks. And there are no guardrails. We've taken away anyone who might possibly say no to Donald Trump in the White House. It's going to be car crashes for 4 years. Maybe that's why so many people voted for Donald Trump. These are the same people who watch NASCAR. Why do people watch auto racing in the first place? It's for the car crashes. If you wait long enough, there's going to be a crash. And I think those people are really going to enjoy the next 4 years. So, to answer the unspoken question, will there be another Netherlands second video? The answer is, I don't know for sure. But I do know this, that this video, the Netherlands second video, this video from the little Netherlands, if you look it up online, it now has more views on YouTube than the official Donald Trump inauguration video. So, well played, Netherlands, yeah! Congratulations, gefeliciteerd, well done. Origin story, the show called Leaving Trumpland, Part 1. I did that 4 years ago. And that was all about the US election 2020. Not many people saw that show because COVID. Yeah, right? I said to my theater booker, it's too bad. Not many people saw that show. He said, why don't you just do your show that no one saw and call it Leaving Trumpland 2.0? Until one of the old men dropped out. Then I had to rewrite half the show. But so, in the spirit of democracy, let us recognize and congratulate the true winners of the 2024 election, Vladimir Putin and Elon Musk. Yes, the broligarchs. According to a Dutch newspaper, 73% of Dutch people wanted Kamala Harris to be the next US president. You know, because you've never had a female prime minister in this country, so yeah, I guess Dutch people are like, yeah, do more. Do you remember that 1 week in July this year when Joe Biden stepped down and Donald Trump realized, like, what? Like, you can do that? Yes, his like narcissistic ego brain just went like, at one point, he was like, I've spent so much money attacking Joe Biden online and on social media and TV. I think when he dropped out, it's totally not fair. I think he should have to pay me all that money back. And that's not a joke. That's an actual quote. That's how surreal my life has become. I just say the words. That's the joke. It seemed like Donald Trump was unprepared for Kamala Harris to be his new opponent. His first line of attack was like, well, she's Kamala Chameleon. Is that even her real name? I've never seen her birth certificate. But he said she's not really black, she's part Indian and part black. And then one day she just decided, I want to be black, and now she's black. With the jazz hands and everything. What was that? Bah. And he said this in front of the National Association of Black Journalists. Like, well, that seems like a friendly audience for this new idea. Compared to Donald Trump, Kamala Harris was the candidate who knew how to dance. Whereas Donald Trump, what is this? It's YMCA. That's a gay anthem. Why are you doing this dance move? Let the gaslighting begin, I guess. No, if he was ever on message about anything, Joe Biden is too old. He's so old. Don't vote for the old guy. And then the old guy dropped out. And you could just see him react as all of his weapons turned against him. Don't vote for the old guy. The old guy. No. And it didn't. They bounced off. He's indestructible. He's like a cartoon character. It's like the Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner. It's like Donald Trump would be the one to lay out like a trap, a bomb in the middle of the road, and when the Roadrunner steps on the bomb, then no more Roadrunner. What does the Roadrunner do? Beep, beep, yeah. No bomb. Donald Trump is the character who would go up to the bomb. I don't understand. The bomb is supposed to go off when you step on the bomb. Boom! Looks right into the camera, My face, it is black, and it used to be a healthy orange, but now it's black. And now I guess orange is the new black. I understand the dynamic. Every time I do a Donald Trump impression, I'm just giving that man even more attention. When attention is what he thrives on. Maybe I should stop. I get it. Maybe this is the show where I finally put an end to this Donald Trump voice once and for all. But I'm so good at it. It's like a blessing and a curse at the same time. And it pays off, I got to admit. The other day, I was in my local plant shop. I was picking out a new plant to replace the one I had killed. And I don't know why I'm going down this shelf of all these different kinds of plants, and it felt right to do the Donald Trump voice. I was just like, I've killed this one. I've killed that one before. This one I've killed many times, multiple times, the spider. This one, pancake plant, I've killed this one so many times. This one, no one, I think, I'm the best. No one is better at killing this plant than me. It's dying right now, look at it. The owner of the shop came up and he said, what you want is a fat plant. Yes. You're the fat plant with the waxy leaves, and if you put it in the dark corner and do not even much water, it is very happy. And so I said, okay, how much for the fat plant? How much does this cost? And he said, you know what? You make me laugh with your Donald Trump voice, and to say thank you, I will give you this plant as a cadeau, as a gift. It is on the house. Please enjoy. And I thought, wow, I have arrived as an artist. Here I am trading goods and services with nothing but my art and my voice. I felt like those stories of Pablo Picasso at the cafe when he would never, pay for his drinks at the bar because he would always make a little Pablo Picasso portrait of the bartender and say, hey, here you go. They would say, oh, Pablo, it's like me. With the eye on the wrong side, but okay, yeah, no, it's like me. And that little artwork, they would give him free drinks for that. For him, it was worth it. And now that's a Pablo Picasso artwork. That's probably worth 10,000 euros at an art auction somewhere. And me, I got a fat plant. Yeah, achievement unlocked. So, I'm happy. Donald Trump, I don't know if you've noticed, he tells a lot of lies. Yeah. He tells so many lies. Isn't it interesting or noteworthy when he's consistently honest about one topic in particular, which is he does not like people who are not the same color as he is, which is technically all of us because this is not a naturally occurring color. Yeah, can we explain this? I have one explanation, it's just a theory, but do you remember in 2020, it was a couple of weeks before the US election, it was during COVID, and the President of the United States, Donald Trump, caught COVID, right? They had to take him off to the hospital. They gave him this experimental state-of-the-art treatment with antibodies from a company called Regeneron, which is a part Dutch company, and it worked. Because the antibodies, they came from stem cells, and the stem cells had to be harvested from embryonic tissue, which came from an aborted embryo. And someone followed the money. Where did this, frozen embryo come from? Which country, which laboratory? Turns out it was the Netherlands. Yeah, Donald Trump is alive today because of dead Dutch baby cells. And I think that explains the orange color on his face. I think it's in his DNA. It's that royal orange. It's healthy orange glow. Every day is like a king's day when you feel like the king of orange. Someone asked me in an interview recently, do you have to prepare mentally to portray Donald Trump? And I realized the scary answer is no. My brain already works that way. Someone once described Donald Trump's brain as a bumblebee trapped in a glass jar. Bing, 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 bing. Yeah, and I felt like that could be my brain they're talking about. Does anyone else have a diagnosis of ADD or ADHD? My wife, she's Dutch. She says, oh, you definitely have something. Yeah, she says it's EDD, easily distracted disorder. Anyone who has worked with me, you'll know that that is how my brain works. In fact, I was outed last summer by a former colleague of mine. My former colleague, Seth Meyers. Do you know the origin story of Boom Chicago Theater in Amsterdam? I came over in 1994, and I thought, great, I'll just do it for one summer. And 30 years later, I'm still here. So fair warning, the Dutch can be addictive. Seth Meyers came out of college, started his career in Amsterdam in 1997. And someone asked him last summer, what do you remember from your first ever day in Amsterdam? And he said, oh yeah, I remember this guy picked us up from Schiphol Airport, Greg Shapiro, and I could tell his job was to tell us everything we needed to know to start working and living in Amsterdam right away. But while he would be really precise about the first thing we needed to know, before he told us the second part, he would just get distracted and talk about something totally different. And I heard this interview and I was like, oh, I wish you had not remembered that 30 years later. This is my imitation of me on that day in 1997. I was like, hey, welcome to Amsterdam. This is the Leidseplein, which sounds like Led Zeppelin in English, if that helps, yeah? Like, whole lot of love. Do people listen to Led Zeppelin? I don't even know. Or do you listen to, what, like, Bruce Springsteen, the boss. Our boss is Andrew, by the way. He's late because he's coming by tram. Oh, the trams here? There are so many trams. In fact, if you want to get on the tram, oh wait, no, you have to get on the tram. You have to get this thing called, not like a Metro Pass, but here it's called a stripping cart. Yeah, so the stripping cart you can find at any shop that says it's stripping. By the way, it's like, it's not stripping, don't worry. It's not like Amsterdam, you have to strip to get on the tram. No, so, oh, by the way, strip clubs, I mean, if you're thinking about the red light district, they do have that here. In fact, we should go to the red light district. Oh, red lights. Oh, bikes don't stop for red lights here, so be careful. The bikes don't stop for anything. Red lights or white stripes or nothing. Yeah. In fact, you should get a bike. Sorry, you have to get a bike. That's the first thing you should do. I got my bike at this place called, it's near Dam Square. And if you go to actually Dam Square is how Amsterdam gets its name. Did you know? Yeah, the Amstel River, and then they built a dam, and that's the Amstel Dam, and then they made a square, and then that's how we get the concentric canals. Did you know that's a World Heritage Site from UNESCO? Yeah, then we're going to take a canal tour of the canals. You have to find the right dock, though, for the boat, because if you find actually, did you know they're in alphabetical order if you come from the center? Isn't that funny? I don't know if they did that on purpose. It's like Heren, Keizers, Prinsen. So Herengracht, Keizersgracht, Prinsengracht, and then you get to the Leidseplein, and that's where we are now. Any questions? He said, yeah, can I talk to someone else? Yes, that is how my brain works. It's also how Donald Trump's brain works. And I can demonstrate thought exercise. You're in your kitchen, and I'm in your kitchen, and I'm now pointing to that one item. It's the kiwi. The kiwi. Oh, here's how Donald Trump would talk about the kiwi, okay? And, you go and you want a kiwi. And these kiwi, it's fresh fruit, isn't it? It's kiwi. And they say it's great for the smoothie. It's so not great for the smoothie. The kiwi, they put that in there, those seeds, the little black seeds. They say, oh, Donald Trump, don't say you don't like black things. That's bad. They'll make a clip on TikTok. I don't care, whatever they say. The black thing, if it's the kiwis we're talking about, black is bad. It's not beautiful. They're very bitter, very sour. Are you following so far how little sense this makes? Okay. So you want a kiwi from the shop. Can you afford a kiwi these days? Well, thanks to Joe Biden and his inflation, no kiwis anymore. It's cheaper to fly to New Zealand where they have real kiwis and pick your own kiwis and fly back. Thank you, Joe. But you want to slice a kiwi. How do you slice a kiwi these days? Can you get a metal knife anymore? No. It's like the plastic straws. And thanks to the bottle caps in the European regulations now, they're attached to the top. Now everybody has to drink water like me to make sure the bottle doesn't go up your nose, the caps. And that is why you cannot vote for the Democrats. Thank you. Like, what was that? Can America survive 4 more years of this? I don't know. Warren Buffett says, when I'm investing in a company, I love an organization that is so brilliantly conceived that even an idiot could run it, because one day an idiot probably will. And I feel like he could be talking about the United States. Has this country been run by an idiot? Yeah. I'm not even talking about 2016. I'm talking about 2000 to 2008. Do you remember when George W. Bush was the president? When the U.S. president said things like, I don't trust the French. They don't have a word for entrepreneur. That was George W. Bush. That's the southern accent from Texas. But, before that, you had a different southern accent. There was Bill Clinton, okay? That raspy Arkansas drawl. He also got America into a heap of trouble. He did. But, in fact, when I first came to the Netherlands, it was the 1990s. Bill Clinton was the U.S. president when I first came here. We did a Bill Clinton impression on stage. I even got hired to do a Dutch radio commercial for Fa deodorant spray right here in the Netherlands, yeah. And the tagline was, if you're going to be working in Bill Clinton's White House, you're going to be sweating. Yeah, good line. So after Bill Clinton, we had George W. Bush, and then, of course, we had Barack Obama, who was like me from Chicago, begging the question, what is wrong with a white man trying to sound like a black man, trying to sound like a white man? After that, you had your Donald J. Trump, okay, and then there's Joe Biden, and then I was getting ready to maybe have to do a Kamala Harris voice. I still hear the voice in my head. She's like from California, really laid back surfer kind of, that kind of voice. But it was laid back, but it wasn't like laid back surfer. It was more laid back, but cosmopolitan. Like she might be drinking the cocktail known as a cosmopolitan. That was me. That was Kamala Harris. And I loved it when she said things like, the coconut tree. My mother used to tell us, what's wrong with you children today? Do you think you fell out of a coconut tree? Ha 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 ha. But the quote, it went viral. You can watch it still. Now we have Donald Trump also talking about coconuts because coconuts, they're very dangerous. When the monkeys drop the coconuts from the palm trees and you have to dodge the coconuts and you only have the joystick that goes back and forth. It's such a stupid game. But then, you try not to get hit and the monkeys, they more and more coconuts. They're so dangerous. The next thing you know, they team up with the Donkey Kong, the gorilla, with the barrels and he's throwing the barrels. Now you have to jump the barrels. And you have to dodge the coconuts. You want to rescue the princess. You have to rescue that princess. And all you have for help is little stupid Mario. He's an immigrant, very small. So you have to work your way up to the princess. You finally rescue the princess. And then what happens? Then she files a lawsuit. And you get a restraining order because she didn't give her consent to be rescued. And all I wanted to do was grab her by the princess. Is that the winner? Yeah. Just a question. What if Donald Trump didn't really win the election in 2024? What if it's more like the Democrats lost, okay? Donald Trump got the same vote count that he did in 2020. The Democrats lost 5 million votes from their vote count in 2020. And I have 2 reasons for that, Joe and Biden. Do you remember how bad that debate was? We couldn't come back from that. The debate where the sitting U.S. president fell asleep in the middle of the debate with Donald Trump. He was like, I'll tell you something about the economy, Donald, because we beat Medicare. Oh, what? That's a Republican talking point. What are you doing? He woke up the next morning. Sorry, folks. I guess I had a bad night. But we're going to come back and we're going to win this thing. All of America was like, oh, no, Joe, that's game over, bro. But, he stuck in it for way too long. He wanted to be compared to Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Didn't realize at the time that means dying on the job before you can complete your term. And speaking of, that could still happen, okay? The first ever female president. If Joe Biden wants to do that disappearing act again, he could make Kamala Harris the first female president tomorrow. Well, I resign. Here she is. Kamala Harris breaking the glass ceiling once and for all, if only for a few months. Kamala Harris, president 47. It could happen. And side benefit, If she's President 47, then Donald Trump has to reprint all of his Trump 47 merchandise, which might be worth it for some people. I mean, let's go further. Donald Trump would also have to reprint and remake all of his merchandise to say Trump 48. Trump 48, make America great again. 45 plus 48. I mean, if he has all of this stuff made and then imported, because of course he's going to import it from China, you know it's only going to arrive well after Inauguration Day in January when he's already president. And probably the Trump tariffs will already have kicked in which case Donald Trump will have to pay a 20% extra fee on top of the real cost for his own merchandise. And then finally Donald Trump might learn how tariffs work. So, we haven't even talked about the collateral damage yet, the running mates, like Tim Walz. He brings that BDE, boring dad energy. Tim Walz is the most likely to come up to you at the coffee machine and say, like, have you heard about this new pirate movie? I hear it's rated R. Boring dad energy. But my favorite quote was a meme on social media this summer, and it said, Tim Walz is the guy at the bar who comes and checks on you to make sure that that other dude isn't creeping you out. Aww. Trump's running mate, J.D. Vance, is the dude at the bar who's creeping you out, okay? And I'm not talking about the way he looks or the way he behaves, but the things he says, right? We knew J.D. Vance had a job to do to try to win over the women. And what did he do first of all? He was like, well, some women shouldn't have the right to vote. Hey, way to win over the women. And he talked about how so many Democrats, they're just childless. They're childless cat ladies. And that's what caused Taylor Swift to come out and endorse Kamala Harris. She was like, yeah, I'm endorsing Kamala Harris, signed Taylor Swift, childless cat lady. Beautiful moment. And then, of course, Donald Trump had to take matters into his own hands or his own thumbs. He just put on his own social network. I hate Taylor Swift. All caps, send. That's what a mature leader would do. Women are too emotional. We need someone who can really act like Mean Girls. But so now J.D. Vance, he's going to be the vice president, I guess. He's moving into the mansion where Kamala Harris lives now. What? Yeah, and J.D. Vance, he's going to put a couch in every room. Some of you get it? Okay. Do you know about J.D. Vance and the couch? Oh, this is so fun. Do you know J.D. Vance's book, right? They made it into a movie, Hillbilly Elegy. So we've been warned about disinformation in this election, and the most successful form with J.D. Vance was this simple internet rumor. Someone wrote, if you turn to page 189 of J.D. Vance's book, he describes how he once filled a latex glove with Vaseline, wedged it in between the cushions of a couch, and did. That's not true. I mean, it's just an internet rumor. It never actually happened. But half of America looked at this guy's face on TV, and they were like, yeah, that checks out. Of course that man did that with that couch. Yes. And then this guy has to show up at every campaign event like, hi, I'm J.D. Vance. I'm the senator from Ohio. I did not have sex with a couch. Now he's becoming vice president. Read my lips. I did not have sexual relations with that furniture. Which in Washington means you know he did. You know, J.D. Vance has been described as weird, as part of this He-Man Women Haters Club. And he was described that by Tim Walz. Tim Walz, because he was working with Kamala Harris, they've labeled him as a beta male. Have you heard this? He's a beta male. Any man who would be willing to work with a short black woman as the alpha? So many white bros and dudes who look like me had this reaction in this election. They were like, that just is not right. And it is a threat to my fragile sense of masculinity. Tim Walz was there to say, real men are not afraid to work with women, okay? And that's what it means to be a team player. That's Tim Walz, right? He was a football player, football coach. He's a big dude. He's almost as big as a couch. But so that was apparently how Tim Walz got the job. Like Kamala Harris, you have to be the nominee right now for president. The first thing you have to do is choose your vice president, the biggest decision. And she had so little time. Apparently she had a short list of 3 running mates for vice presidential candidates. And she asked them all apparently one key question from Politico.com. The key question was, do you want to be the last one in the room when the big decisions are being made? And 2 of the 3 guys were like, absolutely, every step of the way. Let's do this. Yeah. Tim Walz was the only dude who said, oh, that's up to you. You're the boss. That's how he got the job. Because that's the job, right? It's the beta president. You're just supposed to be the strong, supportive type. It's basically a glorified cheerleader. And do you know what no one wants to see is a sad, disgruntled cheerleader. They'd be like, yay, Democrats, go Kamala, whatever. But no, if you watch Tim Walz up there on stage with Kamala Harris, like he is way bigger than she, and he would go into the audience like, yeah, let me hear you for her, and he would get all of the attention, and he would direct it with all of his body language to her. Yeah, he would like lift her up because that's the job. And that's important now. He was like the alpha version of the beta male. But that's important now because Kamala Harris was successfully attacked as a DEI candidate, right? She's just DEI higher. And right, because that's what the Republicans suggested. The only reason that she was vice president in the first place was because of DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. And if you haven't heard of that, just equity is not private equity, not like stock options. That's, yeah, some people get easily confused, you know. Oh, just because you're a minority, you get free shares in the company? Is that how it works? Oh, that's real fair. I have worked at companies with DEI. At Boom Chicago, we had this policy before it was even called DEI. And at one point, I had a woman who was my tour manager, our tour manager, and she was my boss. There was this one Dutch dude who was not having it, could not make his brain go to that place, you know? Yeah, we showed up at the place and, you know, he said, hey, Boom Chicago, do you want to see the stage? And I said, good question for Amber. This is my boss. And he went, ha ha, you guys really are comedians. That's a good joke. And yeah, I was like, no, this is Amber, the tour manager. I think you spoke on the phone. And he was like, cut it out. You guys are hilarious. I shouldn't mention the name of the company, but let's just say they were a large Dutch phone book publisher whose future was not golden. So we would do, you know, one week we would do like Amersfoort, and the next week we would do Amsterdam or Utrecht or Eindhoven, and every time Amber and I would come up with a new plan, he's gonna look at me again. Now when he says, do you want to see the stage? I will like literally stand behind you and crouch down, and I'll be like, hi, I'm the boss, please direct your questions to me. And at one point he asked her like, well, can you get us some coffee? And so right, that we had to make a complaint to their HR department, and we said, do you have a DEI diversity, you know, policy here? And they said, no, not really, and then they went bankrupt, because fuck them. Also because they were a phone book publisher when there was already Google. But so here's the other twist in the story. That woman is not just Amber from Boom Chicago. She went back to the United States, and she is Amber Ruffin from Late Night with Seth Meyers, right? She became the first ever black female writer for any late night comedy show in the United States. She now has her own show called The Amber Ruffin Show on NBC Peacock. And on CNN, they're starting their own version of this show, you know, Dit Was Het Nieuws. their own version called Have I Got News for You. Do you know how they have the 2 team captains? Amber Ruffin is one of the 2 team captains. Yeah, that's how we're going to lift her up and say, yeah, Amber Ruffin, yeah! Alpha, beta, male. And, it's true. Many of my former colleagues at Boom Chicago, they have left to go back to the United States, and they have done very well. Like the creators of the Ted Lasso TV show, they started out in Amsterdam at Boom Chicago. Coach Beard, Brendan Hunt, 1999. Jason Sudeikis, who plays Ted Lasso, started in 2000. And even Jordan Peele, started in 2001. He went on to do Key and Peele and direct Get Out the movie. He won an Oscar. He won an Academy Award. And, we all just started out doing improvisation. It's all about, group mind and working together, trying to build your partner up. And that is the golden rule of improvisation, is make your partner look good on stage. Make your partner look good. And looking at their careers versus my own, I realize I have done my job very well. Yeah. Take it. Do Dutch people know about Project 2025? Most Dutch people are like, yes, I've heard of it. I don't know much. It's just, I've heard it is not good. And that's all you need to know, basically. That's accurate. It's 900 pages of a roadmap of what this conservative group wants to do once they get Trump back into power. And it's like 900 pages. Have I read the whole thing? No. I've also never read all of Mein Kampf, but you get the idea. Some of these things that they want to do, even Donald Trump backed away from some of this stuff. It is so unpopular. It's been written by religious, fundamentalists or extremists, and some of the stuff they want to do, see if you think this sounds weird. If you want to cross state lines into a state that has abortion access, you might have to take a pregnancy test at the airport, or even if you're visiting. Sorry, folks, that's kind of weird, right? It used to be stuff that would put you on the sex offenders list. Now the sex offenders list is in the cabinet at this point. And Dutch people are asking me, where do you get all of these religious fundamentalist extremists? And to Dutch people, I say, you sent them. According to my history book, the Pilgrims, starting in 1620, the Pilgrims were the religious weirdos who were too extreme even for the tolerant Netherlands, remember? And they sailed on the Mayflower. They sailed to Plymouth Rock. And they used the rock to start stoning people to death almost immediately. And that's a joke. They burned people to death. That was their thing. That was the women at the Salem witch trials. Yeah, that was all them. And don't forget, before the Pilgrims, before they made it to the New World, the Pilgrims left Netherlands. They stopped in Plymouth, in England. That's why Plymouth Rock is New England, right? And at the same time, according to my history book, there was also New Amsterdam and the Dutch Manhattan colony starting in 1609, when the New World was learning new rules like the freedom of religion, the freedom of expression, freedom of immigration, thanks to Dutch Manhattan. And these are the values that Americans are taught are typical American values. But actually, I think they are typical Dutch. And meanwhile, you've still got so many people from New England, from the Pilgrims, the Puritans, who are like, nah, get rid of the freedom of religion, freedom of expression, freedom of immigration. And that, I think, is what many people mean when they say, make America great again. They mean, make America New England again. I don't think that's what America needs. I think we need to make America Dutch again. That's hopefully for the Dutch. Will you help, please? America needs your help. I went to go vote. I voted absentee for the November election, but I visited in April for the primaries, the 4 for Kiesinger. And while I grew up in the city of Chicago, which is in the state of Illinois, that's a blue state, then I saw my family move up to Wisconsin. And Wisconsin is to the north, right? And that is what we call a purple state, because it's a little blue, it's a little bit red. And there's a rule where you never know who you're talking to, how they might be voting. So don't talk about religion and politics in mixed company. But there I was. I went to go vote in person, and as I was walking out, I had my sticker, I voted. And the guy walking out next to me, he also had a sticker that said, I voted. And now I noticed he was wearing a hunter's cap and a camouflage jacket. But I thought, okay, I don't need to talk about politics, but I'm just going to point out, nice sticker, and we'll see how much we have in common to fight polarization together. And I said, hey, nice sticker. And he was like, huh? Oh, yeah, I voted. And I said, yep, I voted too. I got the sticker. So now we have that in common. Yeah, I thought we were playing this nice game together. Instead, we ended up playing the game called Tell Me How You Voted without saying how you voted. So I said, yeah, voting is important, isn't it? And he said, yep, voting, that's how we support democracy. And I thought, yeah, we have to support democracy. Democracy is important. And he said, absolutely. And these days, you cannot take that for granted anymore, that everyone believes that democracy is important. So I was like, yes. I'm so glad we agree. We have to defend our democracy. And then he said, yep, we have to defend our democracy from these illegal Venezuelan immigrants sneaking in here to commit voter fraud and steal this election for the wrong side. I said, nice talking to you, gotta go. So I'm guessing my vote canceled out his vote. And that's why we vote. My mother also, she lives in Wisconsin, right? In the middle of this, purple neighborhood, in a purple building, actually. And she has an art class, which is on the ground floor. And it's filled with people. It's like a purple art class. Some of the women in there, she knows they vote. They watch Fox News. She knows how they vote. The instructor divided them up into 3 groups. And she was there with one woman she knew and a couple she didn't. And they all got the same assignment. Your job today is to create a painting with the inspiration world peace. And my mom was like, okay, let's see how we define world peace in this group. She said, well, what about Mother Nature? We could put some plant life around the edge of the painting. And they were like, oh, that sounds like a good idea there, And so they started out with green garden around the edge. And then this other woman said, what if we put the peace symbol in the middle? And they all agreed. So great. They drew the circle with the line and the line and the line. And they were like, yay, world peace. And then my mom had to say it. I think that's the Mercedes logo. And they were like, I don't know. We grew up in the 1960s too. I think we know the world peace sign when we see it. And now they're going to have a fight. Yeah, so she said she tried to look it up on her phone, but I could never work the Google to find out. She tried to act it out. It's like there's a line that goes all the way up and down. It's like there's a circle with a skinny man doing jumping jacks, but he's got a very long, it goes all the way down. Then, apparently, my mother resorted to her classic Midwest nice attitude, which is a nice way of saying passive-aggressive. She said, well, I guess if a German luxury car brand means world peace to you, then who am I to argue? And so the class ended, and then she said she had to go back up to her apartment and think about it, and then she had a choice to make. Does she want to be right, or does she want to be happy? She chose not to be happy. She says she snuck back into the art room and then she got the paintbrush and drew the line all the way up and down so there was the real peace symbol. And when she came back for the next art class, there was a nasty note on the side of the painting and it said, whoever has vandalized and violated this dedication to world peace, I hope you are proud of yourself. So By that point, she said, I did look it up on Google, and I think this is how it's supposed to look, if it's supposed to be the world peace sign. And they looked at the phone, and they realized all of a sudden, wait a minute, that is the peace symbol. And they said, you were right? And they apologized. They had a group hug. They had a moment together. They had closure. And after the group hug, now there's going to be world peace, thanks to my mom. Isn't that great? Yeah. Ever since I moved over to the Netherlands, I've had my friends, my family back from home. Yeah, they've been looking at me and asking, okay, I know it's fun over there, but like, when are you moving back? When are you going to take your life seriously? When are you coming home? And what's interesting now is those same friends and family, now that Trump might, be coming into the White House soon, they're like, hey, what's life like in the Netherlands, actually? Is it affordable? Is there decent housing? Is there enough? And I tell them, nay, full is full. Stay away. Applause for that joke. I know. There's room for every perspective, just a little. That's great. Oh, good. But no, it's true. My stepfather is living in Trumpland now, which is, this nursing home that is in Trumpland, Wisconsin. Now, these guys have been divorced forever. But so stepdad needed a nursing home, didn't have any money, and so he went wherever they put him. And they put him in like red state, Trumpland, Wisconsin. There's a nursing home here, there's a parking lot, and here's a big old Walmart across the parking lot where they just put in a vending machine for 24/7 bullets. You can get ammunition 24/7 now. Yeah. People are walking around in this nursing home with t-shirts saying, gasoline forever. That was fun. There was another one that said, cancel this. Brr. Yeah. And occasionally you will see people, bucking the trend with t-shirts that say LGBT, liberty, guns, beer, and Trump. They also have that. Yeah. And so, my stepfather, he's in the home there. And we don't mind, we go visit. The last time we went to visit, we stayed at this housing complex. And across the road, there was a shopping complex. But at the shopping complex, they had an American diner. And my kid was like teenager. My teenage kid said, let's go have like the typical American diner breakfast, right? Can we go order American pancakes? And I said, yes. The idea is you're supposed to get in your rental car and drive for 30 seconds from one parking lot to another parking lot. And this is how you can tell I'm becoming Dutch. I said, nee, wij gaan lopen. Yeah! We can go, but we have to earn our pancakes. We're walking there, son. And so we're now walking out of this parking lot, and we have to get through some bushes to get to there's no crosswalk. What? No. And I realized this is a terrible mistake. I'm like, come on, we'll just cross the road. There are guardrails involved, there's big trucks coming past. It's more like a highway. There are 2 lanes and 2 lanes. I'm like Frogger, the video game. I'm like, wait for it, go, go, go. Making our way to the safety of the median, the grassy median, the unexpectedly swampy, grassy median where I almost lose a shoe, and make it onto the safety of the pavement. And here come the SUVs. Yes, the angry soccer moms in their SUVs shooting us eye daggers, texting, where did these homeless people come from? Try to make it to the safety of the other parking lot and dust ourselves off, and we finally get to the American diner. These pancakes arrived, and there's a ball of whipped butter on top. There's whipped cream involved as well. And of course, the heated syrup that you have to pour over the top of the pancakes. And my son, he took 2 bites and he said, klaar. He was finished. I was like, okay. he then took a photo, I think. He actually took a photo of how big it was. He even he used the ball of butter and then the cherry. He made eyes and a nose and a mouth. He actually made a portrait of our server, a waitress, and he actually took a photo for school credit. It was like a Pablo Picasso moment trying to happen. Like, here, it's you. She was not impressed. The waitress came up and gave me a look as if to say, oh, you're going to let him play with his food. I gave her a look that said, I'm glad he's not eating it, okay? And meanwhile, it was an American diner. So over my shoulder the whole time, there was 24/7 cable news on 2 screens. That's because it's a purple state. We had, Fox News on this side, CNN over here. Yeah, Fox News, there was no sound, but CNN, they turned up the sound at one point because that's how we do in America. Why would you want to have a gezellig connection with the person across from you when you could constantly be yelled at by TV screens with 24/7 breaking news? So breaking news on this day at this hour, they said, stay tuned, this just in. Yes, 112 years ago today, the Titanic sunk in the North Atlantic. Yes, it's Titanic Anniversary Day. That was the breaking news. Even my son was like, what does that mean? What does it mean when they say breaking news? And I said, well, son, that means the news in America is broken. My son said, Trump is going to be president now, but is it really going to be so bad? You know, like, it's not going to be full-on fascism, right? And I know that the enemy of fascism is the truth. So I looked him in the eye and I said, no, I'm sure it's not going to be that bad. I lied. It's going to be so much worse. I totally lied. Because look, that's disinformation in our own communication. This is an issue. Disinformation is a huge problem. And with Donald Trump, it's only going to get huger, okay? And hey, with that in mind, flashback to my stepfather in the nursing home, okay? Because remember, nursing homes during COVID, yeah? That same week that the Netherlands went on COVID lockdown, that was the week America went on pandemic lockdown. There were exceptions, like the state of Wisconsin, because the Republicans in the state legislature voted to overturn the national health and safety rules because they believed in freedom from science. Make America New England again. So some of these freedom lovers were coming in and out of my stepfather's room and coughing on him, and I don't know. So a couple months later in July, my sister called up and said, Dad has COVID. And a week after that, she called up and said, Dad is gone. And I know, hilarious premise for a comedy show. But so I talked about this in my show 4 years ago. That was the ending of the show. And I said I was furious at Trump and his Fantasyland followers for basically killing my stepfather. And that got simplified online to Shapiro accuses Trump of killing stepfather. And after that, the online comments. Oh, dear audience, 4 years of lovely online comments. I've collected some such as, how can you prove that your stepdad died in the first place? Okay. Can you prove that Donald Trump was involved with killing your stepdad? Do you even know how your stepfather died? Can you prove it was COVID? Or are you just deliberately spreading disinformation to make Donald Trump look bad? Like he needs help from me. But one of these people commenting recently was a fellow comedian. And he said, I thought that you, Greg Shapiro, were supposed to be Mr. Truth in comedy, but I guess you just completely make up disinformation as stories when it's convenient for your show. Now, okay, that deserves a response because it's true. I do believe that comedians are supposed to be truth tellers. That said, we will lie if it makes a story funnier. I mean, if it makes a story funny enough, we'll change the shit out of a story. But not completely. I mean, some of the stories that you've heard tonight, have I left out some details just to make the story flow better? Yeah. Have I changed some details? Maybe to make it funnier for the audience? Yeah, as well. Was there one particular story where I completely threw out the real ending and tacked on a made-up ending because it's more of a crowd pleaser? I don't know, maybe. You can decide for yourself which story that might be. Some of these guys started coming after me as well. Oh, Shapiro, I see you got a COVID booster just because your doctor told you to. Are you one of the sheeple who's part of this plandemic? How do you even know vaccines work? Don't you realize the government is putting mind control microchips in these vaccines that get smaller and smaller all the time? And here I am thinking, well, by that same logic, if you go back in time, then those microchips must get bigger and bigger. Why, back in the 1990s, I was injected with a whole floppy disk. Delete, 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 delete. Yeah, I was like, no, I'm not gonna type that. You know, what I did right was, I don't know what killed my stepdad. He is dead. I don't know if it was COVID. I don't know if the vaccines even work or not. Vaccines, last I checked, the way they work is, you take a disease that's really dangerous, like polio, and you inject a little bit of the disease so your body will teach itself how to fight the disease. That's how you gain immunity to the disease. I did not put that in the chat either, no. I just wrote, I am not sure how vaccines work. I'm not an expert. I am jealous of people who are so sure. I am jealous of people who are so confident that they have the absolute true answer about everything. In fact, if possible, may I advise, never get into a debate with anyone who is so sure that they are right, because they're always right. Extremely right. So, all right, full disclosure, my stepfather, he was not a healthy man, and that's just the truth. He was in a nursing home. He was in his late 70s. He had dementia, which these days means I'm going to run for president. But no, the way my sister put it was, maybe he was just waiting for the train, but the bus came first. The COVID bus. Destination leaving Trumpland. So, that's the truth. Also true was that around that same time, even in Wisconsin, people were posting things on Facebook like, the COVID face mask, that's just government trying to control the population. Think about it. If you can smell a human fart through the face mask, then how does that prove they have any health benefit? And I was like, how dare you bring up that good point? Actually, damn it. I hate it when they're right. The other one was the face mask is designed to cut off oxygen to the brain, and everyone knows that's what turns you gay. That's what makes people gay. That's what the government wants. Or this one, the COVID face mask, that's what causes COVID in the first place. Yeah, why do they put that little metal strip on the front? That's the antenna for the 5G. The 5G, watch out, it's causing your COVID. So, why am I telling you all of this? Well, I just wanted to make sure that for this show, I tell you the true version of what happened versus the version that I told 4 years ago. And I will let you, dear audience, be the judge of which version is more worthy as a story, okay? Because I know disinformation is a huge problem, and I don't want to be part of the problem. If anything, I would like to be part of the solution, you know? So tonight, I thought maybe if I would take some disinformation, just a little bit of disinformation, and I would put it into the stories that you're taking in tonight, but I would label it as disinformation. Then I thought maybe your body could learn how to fight the disinformation. Then you could gain immunity to the disinformation. In fact, I'm hoping that tonight this show can act as a disinformation vaccine. So with that in mind, let's now flash back to the art class with my mother. Now I'm going to offer you two choices and you need to vote, okay? Option A, it ended just the way I said. There was a group hug and world peace. Yay! Option B, my mother said, I never went back to that stupid art class. I was so embarrassed. How many people think it was A? And now, how many people think, make some noise if you thought it was B? The vaccine is working! Also, earlier in the show, full disclosure, earlier in the show we were talking about this video, the Netherlands' second video, and people were sending me the link to this video from the United States, like, oh, you should watch this video, you would laugh. I said, Mom, that's me, that's my voice. The person on the phone was not actually my mother. What? I know! It was actually a friend of the family, and I talked to my mom right after that, just like 2 minutes after that. So, the friend of the family should have known better, and I should have used that guy in the joke. But I want you to know, I tried the joke different ways. I tried it with the friend of the family, I tried it with my mom. The only way people laugh is I say, it's my mom on the phone. Now, my mom taught me to follow my passion, and my passion is making punchlines, so I feel like I'm honoring her wish for my life by making her a punchline. But here's the twist. It turns out that the joke was on me, because a couple years after this video came out, the Netherlands' second video, the host of the show, Arjen Lubach, he got invited onto the Seth Meyers show in New York City, late night with Seth Meyers. My mom saw that episode, and I talked to her on the phone the weekend after. She said, I saw that video with your friend Arjen Lubach, right? And then they talked about the Netherlands' second video, and they played a clip from the video, and here's when she said the words I will never forget. I didn't realize that Dutch guy Arjen Lubach has such a good Donald Trump imitation in that video, the Netherlands' second video. And I found myself saying the words in real life that I had been saying as a joke for years at that point. Yeah, Mom, that was me. That was my voice. It was so surreal and wrong. But so, the bad news is that karma is a bitch. But the good news is, now I don't have to feel bad for using my mom in that joke. Thank you, Mom! Thank you, folks! If we have time for just a couple of questions with the real fake Donald Trump, should we just do that? I mean, all right. Yeah, now's your chance to think of your questions. But first, let us welcome to the stage the 45th, 47th, and probably final President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. The J is for genius. Okay. Do I cheat with golf? I've never heard of her. I heard she's a very... I've never cheated. Stormy Daniel, also I've never heard of her. I cheat sometimes. Golf, my handicap is mental. And so, thank you to that great question. Applause for the first question. It's very brave. Very good, sir. More quick, go ahead. Am I looking forward to New York jail? That is why I am such a nasty man. It's a very, very mean question. You're so mean to me. But New York jail, you may have heard that the 26th of November this month is going to be my sentencing for the Stormy Daniels case. And that's why I was running for president this time around. It was either White House or jailhouse. But if I go to jail, if I go to prison, I think I could still run the country from in prison. I could be like that Netflix show, El Chapo, I could run the empire from the inside, and it would still be my empire. That's the most important thing. I hope that answers your question. That answered. Applause for that question. In the back, more. Yes, go ahead. Well, thank you so much. A brave female voice just chimed in with that brave, loud question. What's your skincare routine? And, should we get a real question, actually? Should we get like a man's question? Or fine, skincare routine. I don't do anything. It's just Jesus. And the sun affects people in different ways, and sometimes I close my eyes and they just get whiter and the rest of me gets darker. They say, oh, you're so racist against Kamabla, and I said, that's not possible, I'm darker than she is now. Yes, go ahead. How was my meeting with Joe Biden? This one was really great. Joe Biden, I think he said blah, 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 and then he called me Fidel Castro at one point. I'm not sure he even knew who he was talking to, but time for one more, right? Go ahead from the... Yes, yeah.
How is Putin doing?
How is Putin doing? It's a good question because I'm never sure who I'm talking to. Sometimes Melania has those very dark glasses on, and I think that could be Vlad. I think he's right there the whole time, and he's doing great, at night in bed with Melania. Sometimes I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's Vladimir. And it's beautiful because he's such a manly man, and he's right with the horse and the pecs, and he's great. And my new appointment will not be Tulsi Gabbard for head of the Department of National Intelligence or the vaccine denier in charge of Health and Human Services. But now, my latest appointment in the position of President of the United States, I am hereby appointing Vladimir Putin. So, thank you very much. I hope you appreciate I've taken questions from men and women. And let us someday be leaving Trumpland together. I've been Greg Shapiro, the American Netherlander. Good night.